Hi everyone, I'm Benu. I'm a graduate student pursuing my master's in computer engineering. This presentation is about basic HTML. I will be covering HTML syntaxes and how to use HTML to create a basic website.
Hello everyone. So welcome to the most boring presentation ever. Let's get started. So HTML is it's called Hypertext Markup Language, and it is a programming language that we use to communicate with your browsers like Google Chrome, like Safari and everything. But before we get started, if you guys have Notepad or TextEdit installed in your computer, I would want you to open it and follow up with me. So Notepad is for Windows computer and TextEdit is for Mac. So when you open this Notepad or TextEdit, I would want you to save a file on your desktop which says test.html. So that way, when you write something onto it, you can actually execute it and see what those changes are and what it looks like on a browser. So what is programming? Programming is it's a process of designing and building an executable computer program. To put it simply, the way we communicate with each other, like the way I use English as a medium to communicate with other people, to communicate with the computer or to communicate with the browser, it has its own language. So for now, we are just focusing on HTML. We are using HTML as a language to communicate with the browser. There are other languages such as Java, Python, C++, which has different purposes and their own things going on. And how do we communicate using that language? So when I say language, uh, what I actually mean is there's a set of rules and syntaxes that we have to follow. Let's say if you're on a computer or a browser to write hello world, and there is uh, a definite way of saying that to a browser, and that's what every programming language is. So the difference between HTML and let's say any other language is that we'll have some sort of different syntaxes to follow. Like you could say in HTML, if you want to say hello world, you'd have to have two tags and say HTML. But in some other language, you'll have to print it using a print function. It's just a different way of doing things. So what is HTML? HTML is a language which we use to create websites and different web applications. It is very easy. If you guys want to try, you guys can open this link. This link is an online compiler wherein you get to type something on the compiler and it will execute the code for you. It's just the reason that I'm stressing on typing the code uh, or doing it with me is because that will give you a hands-on experience and it will be very easy for you guys to understand what it's like, and you know it just makes your learning easier. Sorry. So when we talked about syntax, right? The way we communicate with a computer or a browser. So for HTML, we'll just stick with browsers. So HTML, so the one that you're seeing on screen is the syntax for HTML. So the first line, it says doc type HTML, which means the document type is of type HTML, and this is a HTML program. And the way HTML works is with tags. So the one that you see, the HTML, the head, the title, all these are tags. So when we are communicating with each other, we try to, like the way we communicate is we have an opening sentence and a closing sentence, and we say whatever we want to say in between. It's exactly the same way. So here you're opening this thing called HTML. It's an opening tag, and this is the closing tag. So whatever you write, the code that you write in HTML, you write in between these two tags. And this is a head tag, and this is the closing of a head tag. So the head tag is, if you can see here, it's page title. So whatever you write in between the title tags, it will appear here. You guys can try this on the link or on the notepad, whichever you are comfortable with. So the title tag will give you the title page for your web page. So so whatever you write here between the title tag inside your head division, it will appear here. And the body tag is where you design your web page. So anything that you want on your web page, the code, everything you will write here. And if you can see, the H1 is a heading tag. So uh, let's say the difference between the H1 and the P for paragraph tag. So the difference between these two is the way they are represented on your web page. So H1 is more like a heading tag with bigger font and bold, and it gives you that this is a heading. So you can see the difference here, H1 and the paragraph. So there are a few other tags that you would want to learn about HTML. So the H1 is one heading tag. So this is like the biggest or the largest font size for a heading tag, which is H1. As you go to H1, H2, H3, and so on to H6, as you can see here, the size of the heading tag or the size of the text that you write in between will just go low and low, and it just gets smaller and smaller. But the reason we have 6 different heading tags is that you don't need the same font or the same kind of heading for different applications. You would want, hey, I would want a smaller font size. So that's the reason we have multiple heading tags. And the next one we see here is a paragraph tag. Paragraph is just for writing, paragraphs. When you write a lot of text, that's when we use the paragraph tag. And the anchor tag is when you want to link something to go to a different web page. So let's say here you can see the anchor tag. It says this is a link, and we are trying to link the w3schools.com to this text. So whenever someone opens this web page and clicks on this link or clicks on this sentence, this will redirect you to a different web page. It will take you to w3schools.com. So that's one way of, it's kind of similar to the hyperlink that we use while writing on a Word document, but it's just a different way of saying that. The next one we are seeing here is inserting an image into your web page. So for that, we use image tag. For image, the source is equal to html.png. So the way this works is, let's say you're storing your file on a folder. Let's say on your desktop, you have this HTML folder, and you're saving this test.html on that folder. You'll also need to have the images that you want to store. So let's say this is html.png. You should have the same html.png image, which is this one here, on the same folder. So when you go to desktop and the HTML folder, you should have the image by itself, and the code that you're writing, like the HTML or the test.html, sorry. And so the src is for the source. So whatever the image you want to present it here, you'll have to have it under the source option. And this is the alt. So sometimes we the size of a web page varies. Let's say you have an image that fits the whole screen, but when you're you watching it in a mobile, it doesn't necessarily have that kind of space to fit the image. So the alt is something, this comes into picture when the web page or the device that you are operating your browser on is not able to show the image to the user. So instead of this HTML image, you will get some text which says w3schools.com. So and width and height are something you can say, hey, for this image, I want the width to be 104 pixels, and for the height should be 142 pixels. So as I said, this is just the way HTML works. You have an opening tag and you have a closing tag, and you write some text in between. So if you can observe, the image tag doesn't have any closing tag, because so there are some tags which doesn't have like a closing tag. It's just it's just one tag and it does the whole work by itself. So you don't have to close the image tag. Even so, this is the one that you see here, the BR. It's called break tag. What it does is when you insert this tag in between a paragraph or anywhere, this will uh, generate a line space. So it's like clicking enter when you're writing on a Word document, buttons and lists. So in HTML, it's just, when you're writing on Word and you click, okay, I need all these bullets, bulleting and numbering. So we have a different version of doing that in HTML. So the first one we see here is a button. So we have you guys must have seen a lot of buttons on different web pages. A simple way of creating a button is using a button tag and just writing click me. But this doesn't have any functionality as of now because you didn't say or you didn't tell the HTML or the browser to do anything. All we are trying to do here is just create a button which will act as a button. But even if you go ahead and click it, it will not be of any value, or it doesn't do anything. So the next we are looking here is unordered listing and ordered listing. So the way we have bulleting and numbering, bulleting is for unordered list. So all you have to do is whatever the text that you want to have or whatever the points that you want to show in bullets, you have that in the unordered listing. So we are opening the unordered listing tag and we are closing it down and we are writing whatever the lines that we want to have. So the li is for list. So it says this is a part of a list. This is one list. The word coffee is one list. We're trying to say the word tea and the milk are two separate lists. So we are trying to differentiate between two lists, by using a list tag, opening a list tag, writing your list, and then closing it down. And we are not using anything else. All we are trying to do is trying to say the browser that hey, this is an unordered listing. I need bulleting. We don't need any numbers. And I want these as my lists. You guys can try editing this. So these are some other HTML formatting. So if you want to have a bold text, we use bold. So remember these tags, all of these tags, you have to close them. So if you want to have a bold text in your web page or the content that you're creating, you'll have to open the bold text and close it down and write something in between. So the way we close tags is similar. So if you can see here, we are opening a tag, and we are closing it by just including a slash before whatever the tag that you open. So these are some other HTML tags that we use for various purposes on, it's mostly design and the way you want your website to be. So the B is for bold text. So if you want your text to be bold, we just use open a B tag and write your text and close it down. And it's saying, so strong is for important text. So important text is kind of similar to bold text. All it does is make it a little bit thick, which says this is important, and this is more like a heading kind of thing. And for italic is for the I tag is for italic text. So if you want to write something that's the italics line, you use the I tag and write something, and then you close it down. I would recommend just trying these tags, like write these tags and try something, because you can use the link that I've sent you from W3 Schools. That will help you, understand it hands-on. The deleted text, so the delete option will have a slash. It will cross the words that you wrote in between the opening delete tag and the closing delete tag. So these are all the similar fonts, something that we use on our Word document. It's same, but it's just a different way of saying that. Okay, so let's see the different types of websites that we have or that we can create using HTML. So the websites that we see outside is not just HTML. There are other languages that are being used to, to stylize the websites and to give you those animations and the effects that you see on different websites. There are a range of languages that we use to develop those, but there are only 3 different types of websites that we can develop. One is static. So a static website is, you know, it always displays the same content. It doesn't change, or it's just that content. With dynamic websites, it changes every time you log in. It's like, let's say if you have a credit card and you log into your credit card account, it will not be the same every time, right? It will reflect, based on the transactions that you did. It will show you the balance. It will show you your previous transactions. Sometimes you can even find a different division saying, hey, if you're close to the period when you have to pay your credit card bills, it will show you, hey, this is time, there's a deadline for you to pay your bills. It changes depending on when you log in, and how you're logging in. And if you log into your mobile app, it's a different thing. If you're logging to your computer, it will show you a different thing. So that's dynamic. So it displays different content, which depends on different factors, which the company is trying to, you know uh, based on user experience, and there are a lot of other factors that are involved with those decisions. So the responsive is the most common websites that we see outside. So let's say if you're opening asu.edu on your desktop browser, it will show you like this whole big thing. If you open it in a screen, in a smaller screen, it will show you in a different way. If you open things in your mobile, it will show you in a whole different way. This is because a website that is designed for a web browser using a computer, it cannot be the same for your mobile phone, because it either will be too small, or you'll have to scroll a lot to see the whole web page. So that's why responsive design came into picture. So when we design websites, we know that it's different for a mobile phone, and it's different for a desktop. So what I'm trying to say is, so there are different languages. Again, we use Bootstrap to make your website responsive. The code that we are trying so far is just a static website. All it does is display whatever you're trying to write, or whatever you're trying to tell the browser to do. So styles. So until now, we only tried doing the basic, hey Chrome, just write some text or do this. But we didn't actually, make changes in the background color. We didn't change any font, or the text alignment, the color, and things like that. So we use styles to make those aesthetic changes for a website, or the content that we write in a website. So the way this works is, when you write your tag, or when you open a tag, you write the style is equal to, and you say property and the value. So style is a keyword. We just use it to say, hey, I'm trying to include some styling to my text, and this is what the styling should be like. So the property is, what are we trying to add to this line, or to this piece of text. It could be background color, or the color of the text, or the font, or the font size, or how do you want it to be. There are different properties that we can see, but here, these are some examples that we could try. So when we are using style tags, so what we did in the first place, so do you guys remember the first thing that we saw? We have the HTML tag, we have the head tag, we have the body tag. So we are trying to style the whole body. So in the body tag, what we try to do is, we try to change the background color to powder blue. So when we wrote style is equal to background color powder blue, it changed the background of the whole website, because, as I said, a body is where you write the whole website. And in this, we wrote h1 and the paragraph tag and the break tag. If you guys can see, the break tag gave us some space here. It's just like leaving a line space, but we didn't add any styling to these a couple lines here. But if you can see, for the next two lines, we tried to color the piece of text that we have. We try to color it blue, and we try to color the paragraph in red. So if you can see this is how it changes the colors. It's the same with font. If you want a font size, so we tried a couple different fonts here. So again, we might have access to different fonts using Photoshop or when we're using our Word document. But when you're trying to do a web design, you only have a restricted, restricted fonts that you can use, because not every browser can read all of those fonts. So remember, when you're trying to install a new font on a Photoshop or on Illustrator, you're downloading a font, the TTF file or any font, and you're trying to install it on your whole computer, and your computer is able to read that font. But Google Chrome is something different, right? It's for everyone. So whatever we try to install on the web is read by everyone around the world, or whoever is trying to open the website. So we only have a limited fonts that we can use. But coming to font size, you can say 300%, or because we are trying to use H1 and we are trying to scale it up to 300%. You can also say, hey, I want the font size to be maybe 24 px or maybe 36 px. That still works. The next one is text alignment. So what we are seeing here is we are trying to center the text or move the text towards the right. So this is actually the center. It's not like to right. It's just that my screenshot had I only took a screenshot halfway through. So when I say text align center, it will align my text towards the center of the web page. If I say text align towards left, which is predefined, I mean, you don't have to type text align left, because as you can see, it's always aligned towards the left. But if you want your text to be right, you can say text align right. So CSS styling. So the styling that we saw until now is you're hard coding everything onto what you're trying to say to the computer. Let's say if you, so once again, so if you want to code every element, or let's say if you're writing H1 tag 100 times, if you're having 100 headings on your website, you you wouldn't want to style each heading individually, right? You would want to, just write once, and you would want everything to copy that. That's when CSS comes into picture. CSS is a way we tell the HTML, hey, this is the kind of styling that I want on my divisions or the elements that I'm using in in designing our website. So the way we can do this is, as you can see on the left side, there's a different format, and the right side, there's a different format. So they both are trying to say the same thing, but it's just a different way of telling the HTML or the program that these are the kind of stylings that you would want to use. So on the left side, what we are trying to do is we're trying to say, I want the body. When I say body, it reflects everywhere on your body. I mean, so when you're trying to say body here, it's just you're referring to a body tag that you're trying to use. When you say H1, it reflects on every H1 tag. If you anything that you write on your style sheet or on your style division, uh, it reflects everywhere on the body that you're trying to write. So let's say if you write H1 here and say, I want the H1, like the text under H1 tag should be in blue color. It reflects everywhere. So let's say if you write H1 100 times, it will be in blue color. But if you want to have a different color, even with having H1 as color blue, because sometimes if let's say you have 100 H1 tags or 100 H1 headings, you want 99 of them to be one, or let's say some of them to be in one color, and you want some of them to be in a different color. So there is a way to override these colors, which is you can again bring this style. You can say you can write this as H1 and style is equal to color blue, and you can write this thing. If you write the same thing here, this will override whatever you write on the style column. So onto the right side, what we are trying to say is that we have a different file called styles.css, where we have all the styling, And again, the styling is the same. So we have these stylings towards our left, the body, the H1 and the P. So on the right side, what we are doing is we are placing the three tags um, in a file, and we are naming it as styles.css, and we are trying to link this styles.css to the HTML program that we are trying to write. And we are trying to say that, hey, I'm trying to link something to the program, and this is a style sheet. So CSS is called style sheets. It's cascading style sheets. So we're trying to say that, hey, this is a CSS file, and I want this to be applied to my program. This is what this link says. And remember, the styles tag is written in the inside the head. You cannot write a style tag inside the body tag. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a table. So inside a table, we are filling up some data. Uh, the way we are trying to write a table is similar to the way we created the unordered and ordered listing. So so the way we had unordered list and we tried to declare our lists, the same way we are trying to say, hey, this is a table, and we have three rows here. So the first table row, so tr is table row, th is table header, td is just a table directory, uh, table data. So we are trying to say this is one row, this is the second row, this is the third row. So since we have three rows, we are declaring three table row tags, and inside each table row, we are saying, hey, these are the options that I want to have in my table. So the table header tag, it says it's like the heading for a particular column. So the first name is a table header, last name is a table header, and age is a table header. What we're trying to do is we're trying to represent three different columns. Um, and we are declaring the header for each column. And in the second table row, we're trying to fill in the table with different entries. So we're saying this is a table data that we want inside the second row. So this again goes in a chronological order. So whatever you write first will come first, whatever you write second will come second. So the way again um, the third is we're trying to write the third entry into the table. So as you can see here, it's still following the same open a tag, close a tag. So we are trying to open a table tag to write a table. And we're saying, I want the width of the table to be 100%. So it fits within, it occupies the entire space of the browser, like the whole width of the browser. So this is one of the most important elements of HTML. So as you can see, what we saw so far, what we went through so far is are the basic building blocks of HTML. But with those, you can actually create a web page. But this is where the division tag comes into picture. So if you want to create multiple divisions, you cannot have multiple body tags. So you have only one body tag, and you want to have multiple divisions. So I would say the division tag is kind of similar to a body tag, but it's just that it creates separate divisions. So let's say I have one division here. If I have one more division, it will be a whole different thing. So remember the example we talked about, the styling, when you have 100 different heading tags and you want some of them to be in one way and some of them to be in a different way. So let's say you have 100 tags and you have 20 in one order, 20 in one fashion, 20 in one fashion, so on. So you cannot actually write code or hard code everything, all of these 20 tags. You don't want to write h1 space style is equal to color is equal to. So the way division helps here is you can declare a class for every division. So it's like naming the class, so or naming the division. So the whole division that we have here is called my div, which is a name for a class. And you can style or you can add these styling changes just for one class. So let's say if you have 100 tags or 100 heading tags or lines that you want to write, you can create one division and put the 20 that you want them to be in similar styling. If let's say if you want 20 of those tags or the 20 of those lines in blue color, you can create one division and write those 20 tags in the division. and create that and you can say, hey, I want this class to be called my division, and I want all the elements in my division to be in blue color, or I want them to be center aligned, I want them to be right, or you can have multiple divisions like that. And if you have a different class name, it should not be a big problem. But the biggest advantage is when you write something for one class, you can replicate it in a different class. So that's how division tag works. So the most important takeaway for everyone to remember is that I know this is a lot of HTML and tags and everything, but no one knows everything. So even I have things that I don't know about HTML. So the one thing that I would want you guys to have in mind is when you're trying to code or write something on HTML, I would want you to Google it. So that's the best way to find answers. Let's say you don't know how to draw a circle on HTML. You'll have to like just say how to draw a circle in HTML, and Google has the most answers. There are like web pages that will help you understand how to do different things.